controversial interview from a Bollywood superstar. That's what I've been hearing about it. It's a 2 hour long interview of Ranbir Kapoor with Nikhil Kamath. Now, I didn't want to react, but 2.5 hour long interview. It's not, I think, a reaction kind of a interview. It's chill, laid back, just listen to it. And I listened to it. And it was quite, good. It was fun. It was interesting to hear, them talking about different aspects of life and the way how seamless and chill it was. Casual talk just between two people having food, and that was very interesting. I actually didn't find anything wrong with it. Like, there is one statement they make and then they themselves become political correct and make a point of correcting themselves. I thought that's the issue, but I didn't find any issue with it. But there's a lot of debate online, and I thought, let's check out a video about it, which is not 2 hour long but a 14-minute long video by TRP, Try and Refuse Productions. This is the first time I'm reacting to one of his videos. Hopefully he doesn't mind. If you haven't seen the original, I'll put the link in the description, check it out. I hope he talks about the good, the bad, and all the drama that happened, so in one video we'll be able to cover all that. So without any delay, let's go.
She, for example, used to speak in a very loud tone. And I think because of my father's tone, growing up, always kind of rattled.
That's true for a lot of us, right? Like our fathers, if he has to raise his voice, it's all done. It's doom. He cannot. If you have let that happen, you're done for. But if your mother's crowd screams, yeah, it's fine. If maybe it's opposite for some people, it's both equal for both. It's equal, you don't really care. Depends on everyone's life, not a general statement. But most often, I think a lot of people will relate to that.
So she really made efforts to kind of change that.
And also, you don't get a Bollywood star like him, share that. Because I think that's why the atmosphere of this interview is so different. It's not... Nikhil Kamath is not trying to get clickbaits out of him and make sensational headlines for a news portal or whatever. He's just chilling. He's a big business guy. Just want to talk with him and learn about him. And it's called WTF person, to know about a person. So interesting.
I hope I could say something that I did to put her at ease, but I don't think I've done anything yet.
Bombastic side eye.
I have to read this. Yeah, just... Ranbir Kapoor person is married with Alia, but what's the previous one? Ranbir Kapoor reveals how Alia would change herself after marriage. Oh, okay. Ranbir Kapoor on sacrifice in marriage with Alia, but she also letting go of her personality. Okay. That tells how much I watch his videos.
We live in an...
This is a new thing he's trying. I think now he's doing more of these like face camera videos, talking head videos. That's what it's called. But it's cool. Like good job. I'll say framing is much better than the first video. I think mic little bit down so you can see more of your face. But that's okay.
We reminisce about the good old days where Hindi film stars were candid in their interviews, when few...
This was a famous series of interviews, good interviews.
...were public, when genuine vulnerabilities and flaws were discussed, when even cattiness was just good and fun TV. We see these old clips and call the current state of interactions with actors to be lifeless, boring, and PR curated. But the moment something is real, nuanced, and showcases the same vulnerabilities and flaws of the actors, we dissect it, analyze it, draw our conclusions, and put them on the stake of internet cancellation. There's a reason they don't do many interviews now, because the same candidness is met with absolute vitriol and anger. Humbleness is a PR performance. Being professionally proud is arrogance.
This will take some time to get used to. But what he's talking about, like, I think maybe it's just the expectation that, oh, they are superstars, they are perfect, and that's what they have to portray. And if they say anything which is not good, or you are giving a wrong message to your fans, or you are saying this, how is it possible? How can you, who's so famous and rich, how can you be, have flaws? Like, unrealistic expectations. And I think certain interviews like this breaks that, and people go crazy. Like, how is that possible? He's so rich, how can he even do this?
Takes on marriage is laced with misogyny and sexism. Human evolution and change is not in the vocabulary of the internet. We'll hold you accountable for what you said in 2008, and it should stay consistent with what you say 16 years later.
That's also true.
And this reminded me of what was being discussed on the Comics Roundtable in 2018 regarding the internet and how content is deciphered versus what existed close to a decade ago.
There's no like concept of you being wrong and then improving. You were supposed to be right from the get-go. Easier for us, I think, because we were in a time before social media and then we know it as a new thing. But kids that grow up in it, now there's a childhood is a time not where you can make mistakes, but it's where every mistake will be remembered.
Right.
Whenever a
Interesting, nothing to compare, but if I've 5 years ago I watched a movie and in a review said this, and people who are still watching from that time trendly, I'll get a comment, that movie you said this, for this movie you're saying this, like I don't even remember that video. And I've grown, I've aged, I've changed 5 years. Like, I'm sorry if you think I have been the same from day one, nothing has changed. Of course, you can see everything has changed, but inside also it has changed. So things, looking at things have changed, perspective has changed. So I don't think everything I said back then I will still hold on to it. And maybe there will be few things, but there'll be a lot of things which has changed.
Ranbir Kapoor interview drops because we get to see so little of him interacting with the media,
I
I
also one
anticipate
thing.
the internet to go wild. This is mainly
Honestly, at least in my circle or Twitter feed or Instagram, I actually didn't see anything except his video and his post on Twitter. And all these news things that came out, I think people just need something. These news channels just need something to get clicks. So they're just making any news out of they can.
because the actor is one of the few actors who garners the most polarizing reactions from the audience based on both his personal and professional life. With the amount of interviews that the new generation of actors do,
Yeah, her interviews, like even if I get a click, like small shot or something, it, I don't know, like maybe she's authentic. Like, I'm not gonna blame it on her, put it on her, and oh, she's fake. No, but the way she delivers, the way she talks, and even a lot of these star kids, it feels like so like rehearsed. It feels like you're reading from a script. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the way she talks. It's very different. I'm not gonna target her for this, but yeah, at many moments these interviews just feel so. And you can tell when a good interview, watching the real person, and not a structured thing which has been planned, and everything which is spoken is measured, and you already see that, okay, this is not, like, you're not connecting it. And I think now in today's age, more people can see that and unable to connect, and when they understand who's being fake or who's being real.
there is just so much online fodder that exists that there's almost a sense of boredom that sets in on just the amount of content available on them. But when
Yep,
Ranbir
that's
out of
true.
nowhere comes out of the woodworks with a 2-hour interview with Nikhil Kamath, I knew people would get
150.
ready with their pitchforks to give their 2 cents about his psychological state. I remember when the interview dropped
There's talk about animal also in that, so interesting.
and a day had passed by, I tweeted this. Baffled at the prospect that the internet was not cancelling him for an interview that just dropped. And the fan pages just said that you have to wait for a few more
I hope he shares for what I was saying.
hours for the barrage of
Loud tone after marriage to put me at ease. Okay.
articles to follow. And so it did, labeling the man an insensitive, sexist, and insecure actor, and the entire interaction to be labeled as desperate PR to change his image. What has led to such a harsh assessment of such a, real and in many ways relatable interaction? I just wanted to understand it from the context of the journey that Ranbir Kapoor has had with the audience and the media. Ever since his debut, Ranbir Kapoor has stood out as a talent
There are a lot of insight about his journey becoming an actor. He didn't want to, and then now he loves being it. And he also said that he doesn't care if another actor is in the room and he's getting all the limelight. I don't really care. I'd like to be reserved. So I can understand that.
to be reckoned with. Even though his debut started with an absolute financial disaster, no one ever discounted the screen presence and the ability he had as an actor. This was the rare case where the commercial
a good film.
performances of his films were not scrutinized to be associated with his performances in those films. Other than Besharam, because we never speak about that ever existing.
I think I saw 10 minutes of that film and I couldn't.
But Ranbir in the commercial duds has always been lauded for how he has surrendered to the roles he has portrayed. What has followed also is a keen interest in his personal relationships, something which the actor was extremely open about in the initial stages of his career, but what was essentially an open secret later on. While the professional relevance and the regard that Ranbir Kapoor had as an actor stayed mostly consistent, his turbulent personal life has constantly garnered
There are so many reports about the relationships he had and the cheating thing and all of that. And he says, right, he says in the interview that he never said he never shared his side of story. But I don't think even the actresses, I don't remember they shared it, but the stories came out of them. They were cheated by him and all of that. So he never got to put out his side. And but yeah, people just don't want that, right? They just want to accuse everyone.
chatter and debate. This is what I do find interesting regarding the actor in his life. The dichotomy of the connection he has with the theatre going audience that buys his tickets, and how it is almost immaterial and independent from the chatter about
Yep.
the man on the internet. When asked about
It's interesting because I don't think anyone went not watch Animal or watch Animal because this guy cheated. I don't think it matters to anyone or who is he married to. They just went because the trailer was looking amazing and they just went for the ride, and looking at the box office, I guess most people liked it.
the reception that an animal receives, I was absolutely amused when Ranbir in the Nikhil Kamath interview speaks about the reactions he was getting from those within the industry.
There are many people who I meet who are like, you shouldn't have done this film and we're so disappointed in you. And a lot of people from the film industry.
A film which is, this is so interesting. Again, I think it's everyone's perspective. Everyone has their own opinion. But to tell him that you shouldn't have done it and, you destroyed your image and this and that, and it is one of his biggest film ever, his best film in his career. And the performances, he gets so much acclaim for his performance in the film, So whatever you want people around you to, support you and say you are the best and everything, or you want success in the real manner of what it is considered in society, like making a big blockbuster movie and doing your job so good that people just praise you for it.
I just quietly apologize. I say sorry, I won't do it next time. I don't really agree with them, but I'm in that phase in my life that I really don't argue with anybody. And if you don't
It's a Keanu Reeves phase, right? Like if you say 4 plus 4 is 10, okay, I don't really care. I will not fight with you. That's internet. Like there's so many, on internet you get so many comments, people attack you, this and that. If there's nothing to reply, if no point in replying, I just don't care. Like have your good reply, and you insulted me, this and that. I don't really care, man. Enjoy your life.
like my work, I'll say sorry, I'll try harder next time.
Everyone can have their own opinion about Animal, but its commercial value in the life of Ranbir Kapoor is undeniable, and how it catapults him to
His stardom, it proved that he is one of the last superstars in Bollywood who can deliver a film with that what it did actually.
pan-Indian level, making his next venture highly anticipated, is something that only a massive blockbuster like that film has been able to do. So you have to decide, do you cater to the audience that is going to buy your movie tickets, or listen to the echo chamber of Bandra and Juhu that is appalled by the themes of your movie that went on to become a massive hit? It is here where the Keanu Reeves approach of accepting 2 plus 2 is equal to 5 motto serves
It's 2 plus 2, not 4 plus 4. Yeah. Maybe I like maths.
for an actor like Ranbir, who has his eyes set on listening to the audience versus to only to do what is morally correct according to a select few within the industry. The most animated and passionate
It's interesting because there are people who would listen, to that bubble they live in, and I want their validation, acceptance, all of that, and you can tell their movies don't work.
discussions, of course, happened regarding Ranbir Kapoor's image and his personal journey. Let's get one thing out of the way very, very clearly. Ranbir is no saint. But the point is, who is?
Yeah.
And the perception that many people are drawing from this interview.
Why you want him? Like that's also a problem. Like why do you want? Like, what's his expectation that he needs to be sane? But none of us are, right? We all have our own issues, things we deal with. just because his life is out there for people to critique, so everyone jumps with their folks and attack him.
Of this being an attempt by the actor to clean his image is so far-fetched, because what the
I don't think I didn't see that interview, that painted him as, oh, he's such a good boy and he's great, and he's playing a victim card. At no point he tried to defend himself. No point he even brought that up. He didn't even bring what happened. They didn't take names. He didn't say anything. It was just a fleeting moment. They talked about it and they moved on to something else. They talked about something and moved on. It was just such a casual dinner time conversation you have with someone.
interview essentially does is showcase the man's vulnerabilities and flaws as a human, making the interaction real versus giving us an image as if he is some pious and pure meta-human, all which people on the internet allude to being a prep.
What happened to this film, man? I'm so worried. I think there were news about a court case happening. There's a producer associated, then he left, and now he said, you cannot make this film without me, and all of that. And then suddenly these pictures were released, and then they were like gone. Like, I have not seen anything. There was a new casting announcement, but like Yash is in the film, he has left the project. Like, the film is not even confirmed, still not confirmed. It's just a picture that was leaked from the sets. Like, I don't even know who to ask. Like, it's not even official. Whom to ask? This is exist? What's happening? Like, I have no
As he
idea.
is about to play Lord Ram on screen. See, the fact is that his name is associated with actors like Deepika Padukone and Katrina Kaif, both successful and capable actors with their own loyal fan base. All the fodder that exists on the internet of their interviews and dynamic between each other, one is bound to feel passionate about a man based on what they read and what they see. Deepika Padukone on the infamous Coffee with Karan episode with Sonam Kapoor clearly insinuated, I'm saying insinuated,
I need to Google the meaning. I guess in the talking about, like, in a sentence you may understand insinuated, insinuated, insinuate, yeah, suggest or hint something bad in an indirect and unpleasant way. Okay, interesting.
that there was infidelity involved in their relationship.
Karan, there's a reason it's called cheating. Cheating is a bad word. Honestly.
And you won't stand for it, didn't stand for it.
I didn't stand for it.
While this is quite the
Okay.
revelation regarding airing out your dirty laundry, Ranbir Kapoor never commented on the same. That's different, that he may not have grounds to defend himself, but never has Ranbir discussed about what transpired
Even this
regarding
video.
the fallout in the relationship.
I think it would have been more graceful of her if she could pick up the phone and speak to me about it rather than speak, on a public platform.
Regarding the association with Katrina
I've never seen
Kaif,
that clip.
the perception of the dynamic by the internet is literally based on the absolute train wreck that is the Jagga Jasoos movie promotions, where you can clearly tell the actors interacted with one another while they have separated. I only assume this, and you could just see Katrina Kaif get
Nice disclaimer there, Jamie.
visibly annoyed at the several instances where Ranbir was just being, well, for a lack of a better word, annoying.
She treats him like a kid, like he knows nothing. He is also
And in
very
real life,
amused
he
by
treats
her.
me like a kid, like I know nothing because he won't let me finish my sentences.
In life, I'm talking about in the film.
Okay, awkward.
So he's very,
That was answering my
he's very
question.
amused also because her character is disaster prone. She is
It's this internet fodder that people have that then creates the perception of someone being a man-child or immature that almost becomes set in stone. And what has become the sad reality of the internet is that you are not allowed to grow up and evolve. So the 2008 Ranbir or the 2017 Ranbir has to be what Ranbir and his astitva is in 2024. There should be no growth and personal development to self-reflect and evolve. Something I believe the current nature of the internet refuses to believe. Associating any change as PR, not realizing that themselves at some point of their life have grown, evolved, and sometimes look back at what they said, say, a decade ago or a few years ago, and be like, oh damn, that was really foolish.
Just watch any of my older videos. Even 10 days back. Okay, not 10 days back. But yeah, there's some cringe moments. which I've left behind, hopefully.
The biggest point of contention regarding the interaction with Nikhil Kamath has been Ranbir's comments on his marriage and the dynamic he shares with Alia Bhatt. This is, by the way, the most realistic comment I have seen regarding an actor talking about their marriage. The problem with the internet is that it's always a double-edged sword with whatever you say. If you go over the top with your reply and say the partner that you share your life with is the best thing that has happened in your life and that you worship her like a goddess, the internet will be like कि ज़्यादा overacting कर रहा है.
PR
But the
move.
moment you say that the point of the partnership is to accommodate with each other's personality and acknowledge that you're here for the long run, the dynamic of understanding each other's energies is deciphered as soul-crushing and boring. Ranbir Kapoor, with great honesty, speaks about how Alia may have adjusted more than how he has in the relationship. How she has adapted regarding her tone associated with the trauma he felt as a kid as he saw his parents in a loud tone constantly fight. People are analyzing this as sexism, not having the empathy and sensitivity towards a man clearly talking about his childhood trauma. It absolutely
That's hypocrisy, doglapan. I think that's the problem watching films also, right? Like we just see two people, however they are, they just fall in love and they're perfect, and we think, oh, they will be in love forever because nothing will change, everything will be same. But that doesn't happen in reality. Things change, people change, you grow, everything keeps evolving, and for that and to stay together, you have to keep evolving yourself. And in that, if you force fit, okay, I don't want to go there, but I think that's what Sandeep Reddy Vanga meant when he said, if you are really truly in love, all these societal norms and anything, all of it, nothing, it doesn't matter. So when Alia changes herself in a way to accommodate, as the word used by Jamie, for Ranbir, for their relationship to work better, because she is in love with this guy and she's willing to make that change in her so that her partner feels better and their relationship becomes stronger. That happens every relationship, and if it doesn't happen, maybe that's the reason. When it falls out, that's the reason behind it, because that's what is needed mostly. Like you have to make sacrifices, you want to call it, or make what do you say, compromises, for each other. It has to go both ways. One side also wrong. It's not that only one person has to, which happens in a society. It's always a woman who has to always keeps compromising and the man doesn't. That's also issue. That's the issue that is always pointed out. But when it's pointed out in a place where it should not be pointed out, that's where the issue starts.
blows me away that when an actor with tact is talking about his trigger and how his wife adjusted, knowing the awful memories he associates with a loud tone, as a terrible dynamic in a marriage versus someone just being sensitive to their partner. When the actor himself acknowledges that he hasn't given as much as his partner, we dismiss such honesty as male privilege versus a man just being honest. This is why I feel like the internet today just deserves PR-driven, heavily curated interviews.
It's also the thing, right? Like we want extremes of everything, right? Is the interview is outstanding interview, or it's just the worst thing and it should not exist and everything is wrong? Like, because that's what gets views, that's what gets clicks. If you say, it was fine, yeah, that's not an interesting argument or a opinion. No one cares about that. It's worst or it's the greatest. That's where everything lies today.
Because the moment something real drops, they can't help but be enraged at the slight hint of a person's frailties being in full display. What I think people especially are insensitive towards regarding the interaction beyond the assessment that everyone has about Ranbir and Alia's marriage is his description of his relationship with his father, of it being heavily volatile, filled with anger and distance, so much so that he would always listen to the patriarch while never locking eyes with him. The distance yet respect and love is something many Indian boys can associate with because it is heavily ingrained in the conditioning of men, in the confined roles of how men should be versus how they actually feel. You would be surprised on how many Indian men, sons specifically, have not experienced even the warmth of their father's hug. All heavily associated with the stunt.
People may say that's what Animal is about, but yeah, Animal actually didn't dive more into that aspect. I feel like But yeah, that is something we still haven't seen a lot in cinema.
Emotional and psychological walls that men have built up, never shedding their insecurities or true feelings, all under the guise of wanting to be portrayed as strong and dependable. When you hear the meme of boys going through breakups or hardships and the friend circle's only solution being chal yaar daru peete hain, chal sutta marte hain, it's true because we haven't been taught as boys to understand and communicate our deepest insecurities. And when an actor is communicating the same hurdle he faces while being conducive to therapy, while not really adjusting to it, we come with our own analysis by labeling him sexist, insensitive, immature, and the worst thing to walk on planet Earth. Aren't we being counterproductive to what we preach on the internet for men to be emotionally available, for them to speak about their insecurities? And when
You know, talking about hypocrisy, there's an ad running on, TV and during the cricket matches or whatever. I don't want to take the name of the. It's something related to insurance, and the ad shows a lady kind of talking to her dead husband. Like, you see the husband dead and she is widowed now, and she's complaining to him and blaming him that you didn't even get insurance to us. What will we do now? This and that. Like, and I was like, really? Like, he's dead. You're blaming and complaining to a dead person who died, and you're complaining you didn't give us insurance. Now, no one finds it objectionable. Like, nowadays people rage about it online, right? If it was shown a woman who didn't cook well, and the ad is about a guy saying you couldn't cook well, what's blaming her, that would be like, oh, this is so old and patriarchal and this and misogyny and all of that would have started. But this is nothing wrong in this, that a woman in today's time is depending on the man who has died, that you didn't even provide insurance to me, what will I do?
do we shame them? The nature of the media, by the way, is hilarious because when Ranbir was asked about who he likes watching on screen, he speaks about Vicky, Ranbir, and Karthik.
So right now, two actors that I really like is Vicky Kaushal.
I thought he will say Fahad because whatever, again, it's not confirmed, but whatever we know, he's a big fan of Fahad. So
Singh.
It is Fahad. Fahad calls him the greatest actor of today's time.
And I like Karthik also. I think Karthik has something very charming on
Maybe
screen.
they were just talking about
The
Hindi
media
movies.
house's take is almost of a combative nature, as if Ranbir
See, just using that to just get clicks.
said he considers these specific actors as competition, while having said the same in a very appreciative, nonchalant tone. I also think the rage of the audience sadly is associated with out of context clickbait articles
Yep.
and easy reels versus actually watching the full interview, because the attention span and bandwidth of the internet has also reached such TikTok brain rot that they are too lazy to actually watch an interview and understand the context and tone before considering an article to be the seldom truth. The real answer is you will never beat the internet. They will come with their analysis, come what may, and
I was worried, I actually downloaded this episode because I couldn't watch it early. I really thought, what if they take down the episode because of all the controversy? But there was actually not that much
what's
controversy.
funny is that no matter what approach you take regarding the interview or your public appearance, it will always be a losing battle. You showed slight confidence and happiness with your last commercial hit, it will be dismissed as arrogance. You will try to deflect compliments and be the most bichara person despite your achievements, it will be dismissed as fake humbleness to get brownie points from the internet. What's best is to focus on the job at hand, to associate with good directors and stories, and most importantly, at this stage of your career, only focus on the work as an actor rather than paying heed to the noise. The Bandra Juhu Circle might have their own analysis regarding the terrible nature of your
Bandra
last
Juhu
hit,
Circle.
but what's paramount is the relationship with the audience. And I think all actors' energies should be channelized there versus ever having to pander to any group or the internet also. We wait until the next Ranbir interview drops and the internet loses their marbles again. And that was a video, guys.
Great video as always from Chami Pants 4 or Tries and Refuse Productions. Again, if you haven't checked it out, go check out the main video, hit that like button there. And he also, I think, very active on Twitter, talking about these PR stunts and all these celebrities and actors, getting into what is not needed. Focus on your work, not all this rubbish. I think he talked about how he actually interviewed a actor, and when he talked about this point that nowadays people are getting casted in movies, based on how many followers they have on social media, and that actor just walked off from that interview. I wonder if he ever shares that, but I don't think he will. But that just tells you the state of what Bollywood is in, and it's been 6-7 years I've been following South Indian cinema, and that's the first thing I always noticed. Whatever bigger stars they are, how grounded they are, how grounded their industry are. They're just normal people just doing big films. That's it. Here, when you're not doing anything, you still show yourself out there that you are very big, actually, which you are nothing. It's just false illusion, a delusion they are creating. But good video. Talking about the interview, they talked about so many things. Death of their parents, losing a loved one. Talked about life, like so much business talked about. I think Ranbir said how he wants to start a business of sneakers and how he wants to do it. Like this, it's just so variety of things that they talked about, right? The child, how it feels different, and Nikhil Kamath, I think, said that he'd never get married or have a child. So that was interesting. People have, and I think the biggest part is the guy who's interviewing, and I've seen his other videos. He talks about different fields in his podcast with the players, or big people in that industry coming together, just talking about it. Kind of people who want to know about it. For them, it's meant for that. And if you haven't checked out those podcasts and all the series he has done now, check it out. It's really, really informative and long. Like they totally delve into it. It's not just they just touch the subjects and move on. So it's really, really good. And I like this interview. I actually like this interview. It was really fun to see a honest and real interview and person talking, and not a PR, stint. And I think it's very easy. It's not difficult to recognize what is PR, what is real. But this was fun. Thank you, Jamie, for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And you can show this video next, and I will see you next time.